Hello. Today's video is actually not about board games. It's about this. Yeah, I know. I'm super late to the party on this one, but I wanted to talk about LEGO Dimensions and kind of talk about what went wrong as I build this set. Let's go to the table and check it out. Okay, so right here we've got our LEGO Dimensions. I got the Xbox 360 one because, well, actually I don't have a 360, and that I think is actually probably the first problem I wanted to address, which is that I don't currently own a console that runs LEGO Dimensions. I have a gaming PC, but they never actually made LEGO Dimensions for PC. And because of that, I think they missed out on a large chunk of their audience by not actually making a PC version. I don't know if there was just, I don't know what the reason for that was. I don't know if it was because they just didn't want to develop it, or they didn't really have a distribution platform like Steam or something like that. But whatever the reason, I put off buying this game because I didn't own anything that could run it. So that's one problem right there, just right from the start, is not having a PC version. So eventually I'll probably get a 360. They've been coming down in price. So that might be something I get eventually. But either way, I picked this up for $20 off of eBay, which is just a good price, even if just for the pieces in here. But what you get is the portal, the game, for whatever console you bought it for, and the pieces that come with it, plus this scanner that essentially makes it a Toys to Life game, like Disney Infinity and Skylanders. Now, I know there's a lot of videos that talk about kind of the downfall of Dimensions and just the downfall of Toys to Life games in general. But I'm not going to talk specifically about that or go into depth too much about that. I just wanted to cover just a few things that I think made it so that LEGO Dimensions was not as successful as perhaps other games in the genre, or even as successful as LEGO had hoped it would be. So here's the portal device. It's got a USB again. They could have made this for PC, but they didn't. Yeah, it's a shame. And then we've got the rest of the pieces, which actually came in a separate box. Not really sure why. Actually, well, I probably know why. My guess is that this came directly from LEGO themselves, and then the other components, the electronics and the game, came from different distributors, and then it all gets put together in one big box. Let's go ahead and build this. We have a small sticker sheet here for the portal, I assume. And now let's make a mess of things. Now, cool thing about these bags is LEGO actually recently announced that they're doing away with plastic bags. Which is fantastic, because These are generally not recyclable. There are some stores that do recycle them, but for the most part, these just end up in a landfill, which is really just a waste. So Lego actually plans to introduce new paper bags in their sets this year, I believe. And that's kind of cool. So we've got a lot of small pieces here. These are a relatively new piece, at least to me. I am still very much a Lego enthusiast, and I consider it one of my hobbies, but I haven't really purchased a lot of the more recent sets because there really just haven't been too many that interest me. Oh, we got these cool shield pieces right here that are printed. Oh, we got a couple of them. That's kind of neat. I didn't realize those would be printed. Well, seems like I may have opened these out of order, making things harder on myself. Oh, we get a brick separator. A lot of people, if you collect Lego, you probably have a million of these already, but it's nice for those who don't have one. If you don't know how these work, essentially, let's say you have this on here and a plate that's kind of hard to get to. You can use this to poke up under it and pry it off. And there's also a few other connection points for taking different things off. Like if this was here, then you could do that and pry it off. So we get 3 minifigures in this. I believe it's going to be Gandalf, Wildstyle, and Batman. So let's put those together right here. Now the game, as part of your typical Toys to Life market, each expansion pack or fun pack, they call them various names, but each pack essentially gives you access to either more characters, another level, or both. So essentially it's DLC with a physical component, DLC, and a lot of people don't like DLC in general. A lot of people don't like kind of the Toys to Life mechanic, and I personally don't care too much for DLC, and unfortunately it's kind of just it's just to be expected in modern video games, which is one of the reasons I haven't really been into more modern video games, but that's a whole nother subject entirely. The newest console that I own is a Wii, and they did not make dimensions for the Wii, unfortunately. They made it for the Wii U, but only about 5 people bought that. Personally, I think the Wii U was actually a pretty cool console. Just, it was then followed up by the Switch, which is essentially what the Wii U wanted to be. And so the Switch is superior in every way. And at this point, there's really no reason to go and buy a Wii U. But at the time, I did think it was pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just taking forever on these minifigures. Probably should have saved them for last. So we get, like I said, we get Wild Style from the Lego Movie, Batman from the Batman series, obviously, and Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. Now, this is not the Batman from the Lego Batman movie or the Lego movie. It's the DC Universe Batman. Both Batmans are actually in the game, and from what I've heard, there's actually a pretty funny scene where Lego Batman and actual regular Batman meet each other, and they just kind of bicker. So that's kind of funny. But let's see what we've got here. So Batman comes with his batarangs. Wild Style comes with the little locator device that she has at the beginning of the movie. And Gandalf has his staff. Now, comment about these Batman heads is I really don't understand why Lego doesn't just make a dual molded helmet for Batman. It would look so much better if the white of the eyes was just molded into the plastic, and then that way when you took the helmet off you would just have a full, complete, normal face without this band obstructing it. I really don't know why they haven't done that. They've done dual molding on a bunch of pieces these days. I don't know why it hasn't trickled down into the Batman series. So, after all that babble, we are finally at the instructions. And let's get this. All right, so there you have it. That's the portal. I really like this shape right here, just with these windscreen pieces and the transparent blue here. It just kind of flows. I assume this is supposed to represent energy coming from the portal here. And then, of course, with this, you can put this right there, just kind of around it, and it represents the portal for going in and out of the game. Now, one thing that I don't like about LEGO Dimensions are that the instructions for some of the builds, in this case the Batmobile right here, are not in the box. So even though you have the pieces for them, the instructions are not here. You can only get the instructions in the game. Granted, you can look them up on YouTube now. People have posted them there. But at the time, you could only get the instructions through the game. And that is a huge detriment because there's a lot of these that some people might have been interested in just the figures and not having to worry about the in-game content. Also, yes, I am missing a piece there. It must have fallen on the ground at some point. I'll find it later. So this is another area where I think LEGO Dimensions failed, is the characters. And not lack of characters, but more so a lack of a target audience. I mean, take a look at this. You've got Ghostbusters, Lego City, Doctor Who, Ninjago, Lego Movie, Midway Arcade, Scooby-Doo, Back to the Future, Portal, Simpsons. So a lot of these are going to appeal to kids, but a lot of them kids really don't even know about. And in the later series, they even have Mission Impossible, and they have the Goonies, Sonic, and while some of them and a lot of them can be enjoyed by both kids and adults, I think a lot of the LEGO Dimensions packs were just trying to sell themselves based off of pure nostalgia. So like Scooby-Doo, Ghostbusters, yes, they made the new Ghostbusters, but again, that wasn't really targeted towards kids. The Wizard of Oz, great movie, but is that really a hit with kids these days? So I really don't know who LEGO Dimensions is for. And I think that was part of the problem, is neither did LEGO. They didn't know if they wanted to be for the adults who like LEGO, but want to kind of bask in some of their nostalgia and just see their beloved characters in LEGO form. Or was it for the kids who just want to play a simple LEGO game with some of their favorite characters? Now, it's possible that LEGO was aiming for both. Like maybe LEGO Dimensions was meant to be a game that could be enjoyed by both parents and their children. And I think that is probably what they were trying to do. But unfortunately, that's a very small market. Because you have to not only have parents or a parent that enjoys LEGO, but you also have to have a kid that enjoys LEGO. And while I obviously enjoy LEGO, not everyone does, and that's okay. But because of that, either the parents don't really care for LEGO or the kid doesn't really care for LEGO, you're going to have a lot of people that really aren't going to get the full use out of this toy/game. And that, I think, is actually probably the main reason that LEGO Dimensions was not as successful as other Toys to Life games. Because Skylanders is obviously for children. And while oversaturation and things like that most certainly played a role, in the demise of LEGO Dimensions. Ultimately, I think that it was just a lack of target audience. They didn't know who it was for. And the adults who just wanted to kind of collect some figures and just display them, they were turned off by the price because these things were expensive when they came out. Like, I believe the starter set cost $100. Again, I paid $20 for this, which I think is a bargain because there are a lot of cool pieces on here. Just all of these blue colored pieces, which I didn't have in that color before. There's just a lot of cool pieces. But for a parts pack, you would not want to buy this for $100. And then the starter packs and the fun packs, they may have had some cool figures, but they cost $20 to $30. And people just didn't want to pay that much just for a figure that didn't even have instructions. Those are my thoughts on LEGO Dimensions and what I think went wrong, namely a lack of a PC version, a diverse cast of characters that unfortunately led to a lack of a target audience, as well as lack of physical instructions and a high entry price for these sets, which turned off collectors. And those are my thoughts on LEGO Dimensions. Hi, it's Aaron. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any thoughts or feedback, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I do read all of them. And if you'd like to see more content like this, well, you already know how YouTube works, so I don't need to tell you what to do.